Let's try this. How about now? Is there audio now, Ethan? I know there's going to be a bit of a delay, but... It says it should be good, so I guess I will take that as being good. So I'll just start over again. Hey fam, Swati kคนคร Pinik here. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. So yeah, today's is going to be kind of interesting. I'm sorry if you can hear my air conditioner. I tried connecting my normal mic to it and it said it connected it, but I might need to just connect it to my computer. Again, learning experience since it is a new camera. So thank you for joining me live. Apologize. Again, still trying to figure out why this is fisheye mode, but I don't want to fiddle with it too much tonight. Again, I just new camera, so I have to learn a lot, and I apologize about it being so far zoomed out. I'm going to try bringing it closer here. Okay. So before I get too far though, as always, I like to ask what are you drinking during tonight's video? And I decided to copy Ethan normally, so I went with Pepsi Zero today, or Pepsi Max, depending on where you're from. Pepsi Max and Pepsi Zero are the same thing. So that is what I'm going to have. Watch Ethan change to like Coke or something. Yeah, let me see here. So while we are getting that, let me just try to do one other thing here. Regular Coke. Oh, you did change it up. I finally go to Pepsi products and you go back and you go to Coke. So what I was saying though is today's live stream is going to be kind of interesting because I had been working exclusively in Linux mode because I didn't find Android to be all that helpful, and of course the screen is not wanting to do anything yet, and I don't know why it's showing that. I told it not to show itself, but that's all right. Yeah, like I say, unfortunately, there's a lot to be learned about this camera. So I'm still learning. Forgive me. Anyways, so I had been using Linux mode because, well, Linux is more efficient than Android. And for some reason, screen started going blank whenever I was trying to adjust a setting. Now, granted, in Linux, I was experiencing some anomalous activity, I guess is the best way I could describe it. So, for example, I could turn up and down the volume outside of a game, but whenever I was inside of a game, it wasn't recognizing the volume up and down buttons anymore. I don't know if they're trying to make that be programmable or not, but it was a little frustrating not being able to adjust the volume inside of the game. But I was trying to figure out workarounds and enjoy my time, and this morning I ran into that same issue. I was testing out Castlevania that I like to test out the audio quality on, and yeah, suddenly I exited out of the game, made a modification to the audio, and then the screen went black and nothing would change. Powered it off, powered it on, nothing. Pushed the reset button down below, pressed the reset button, nothing, held it for a bit, and then suddenly it booted into Android and would not let me into the Linux side. Now, this isn't done yet, but the reason for that, of course, as you know, I don't know if you guys know, but I've been working overnights, so I start work in just under 2 hours. But so they do offer, when you enter into the emulator mode, to reinstall it. So you can reinstall from Android the Linux build. The thing that's frustrating, right, is I did that with the micro SD card in it, and it must have created some kind of partition on it. But I can't see the Linux files that are on Linux, and it was not wanting to see, and suddenly like all of my games that were on there weren't on there. It was like it formatted my card. So I tried re-putting it on there, but like the partition was quite big in Linux, so the majority of the stuff I couldn't see, didn't have access to, so I couldn't put many games on it. So I got a different memory card about an hour and a half ago and put games on it, and I've been trying to get it to do it now. But the funny thing is like when you get this, it doesn't come with a micro SD card, and it boots into Linux or Android by itself. But then after I installed it, it was requiring the micro SD card. So I was like, well, maybe if I take out the micro SD card and put my games on it and then put it and try and install it. It's like, nope. To do anything, you have to have the micro SD card. So I don't know why suddenly I need the micro SD, unless when I reinstalled the Linux build, it redid the entire partition for both Android and Linux, and made it be like internal storage, which is really strange if that's what happened. But I digress. So then I had to redo everything all over again, and like I said, got a new card, new games, and I'm trying to install it so I can at least try to play them on Android. If you didn't watch my first video, well, before I do that, let's just do our 9,000 subscriber giveaway. So we'll bring that up first. Okay, there she is. So let's see who won before I go into review mode. So we've had a couple new people, Ben R. and Retro Scott and 6th Gen Gamer are new to the Discord server, so welcome, guys. Brainbeat does qualify for another one now that it's been 3 draws since he won. I have reached out to last week's winner. Hopefully we can get a prize for them. Brainbeat should be receiving his, I believe, today or tomorrow, as per the what I've seen from the courier, so that's pretty awesome. And the others have received theirs as well. So just as a reminder, subscriber giveaways every 1,000 subscribers. This week is the 9,000 subscriber giveaway, if I remember correctly, and we're at 18,000 subscribers, so we still got another 2 months of at least these every Wednesday. And I'll do a draw every Wednesday, whether it's a live stream, which is normal, or if it's an abnormal week, I'll do it during the recorded segment that replaces it. But either way, you'll get them on Wednesdays. And to qualify, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel and sign up for the Discord server. Of course, the link to the Discord server is down in the description below. And you can get things such as, sorry about that, you can get a thing like a coffee mug here. This is awfully close now, so get a coffee mug, t-shirt, which has been very popular. You can also get a USB drive, flash drive, 128 gigabytes, branded with PNX on it. Like this guy right here. Actually, let me move it down here. There you go. Like this guy right here. Ah, camera dropped. Let me just try to see if I can't zoom in. Okay, I see what it is. Okay. And standard. Let's try that. That should make things look better. All right, so like this guy right here, but of course you can choose your own color. And it has USB-C on one side, USB-A on the other side, makes it nice and versatile. Also very popular. T-shirts and the thumb drives have been the most popular, which really surprised me. Coffee mugs, number 3 in popularity. You of course can choose your color as well. And I think I'm missing something else, but it's all on the Discord server. So you can know what you want to choose, and you let me know, of course. So therefore, let's give the wheel our traditional 3 spins, or shuffles, to mix it up for everyone. All right. So who's going to win this week's draw? Let's find out. Oh, Professor MK. All right. Congratulations, Professor MK. I will send you an email letting you know you've won because you are one of the grandfathered on users that had subscribed to the Penix-Handhelds website, my blog. So I haven't been updating my blog because I just haven't had the time recently. But I grandfathered everyone over. So despite the fact that he's not on the Discord server, he did subscribe on the blog. So Professor MK, thank you for being a long-time subscriber, and you'll be notified shortly. And just a reminder, you're only eliminated for the following 3 draws. So this is the 9,000, so the 10,000, 11,000, and 12,000 he is eliminated from. But then on the 13,000 subscriber giveaway, he will be eligible to win it once again. So we'll remove him for now. Okay, congratulations. And let me come back over here. Hey, Brainbeat. And yeah, sorry, Ethan. You know, I'm doing my best to help you win, bud. But unfortunately, more people keep joining. You know, I wish even more people joined, honestly, because one, it would make the Discord server a lot more active, and I would love for things. You know, even our random tech news. I would love to get the random tech news channel running more frequently, and all that fun stuff. And let's see here. Emulator, please. Yeah, so you see here, you go into emulator. Here, let me get rid of our little spinny spin thing here. All right, so again, I have a lot to learn because it's making this very blurry. And I'm not sure why it's making it so blurry. Doesn't make any sense. It's super close, like it's probably only 6 inches away. So I'm not sure why that is at the moment, but I digress. Might have to switch to my phone for the live streams just because phone might be doing better for a live stream, and this might be better at recording regular content. Again, I don't know. I apologize. I'm trying to learn from a new camera system, and I'm learning with you guys. But anyways, so it wasn't booting into Android or to Linux anymore. So you can reinstall it at least. Let me see. Why is it so blurry? I think it's trying to zoom into its own reflection. Pay attention to its own reflection. But, sorry, I'm going to take this off for a second. Just going to look at the settings in a little bit more detail. Just trying to see if I can't help it. I don't know if that's going to help or... Yeah, I think I'm going to try turning that off. Okay, that's a bit better, but let's see here. Can I see the screen very well? Yeah, see, it's still not focusing in on the screen very well. I'm not sure why that is. Trying to figure that out. But that's close enough, I think. So yeah, you can see, do you want to reboot? If I say yes, it just doesn't do anything. No, and then reinstall. So Yes. And then it'll do that, of course, and say that it's failed and make me redo it again. I got it to work earlier. It's not a very quick process, so at least it'll let me run it in the background. But of course it doesn't want to do it now. So, interesting. Okay, so we are in the Android side. Yeah, but then I move away and it's too small, right? So if I move up, then it's too far away. And in webcam mode, which is what I have to use this camera in, it doesn't give me the option to zoom like it does when I'm recording a regular video. Dominic's doing good. He's probably downstairs playing with one of the maids while Joe's getting ready for bed. But since we have our two maids, he's probably playing with one of them right now. But so yeah, that's the kind of the quandary that I'm in. Do I get too close? Do I get closer? I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're meaning, but it's like the catch-22, right? It sees itself very well, but I can zoom on the regular mode, but I have to be in webcam mode to use this camera for a live stream. So that's why I'm thinking I might need to just use this camera for recording of episodes, and for live streams use my phone. That might be the case. I don't know. But anyways, so yes, you can come and, since my Linux build failed. Okay, check and retry. Interesting. Okay. So we're stuck to using RetroArch on Android. I can't in webcam mode. In regular mode I can, like when I figured out how to do it in the editing, when I was editing, I figured out how to do it for regular recording, but for webcam mode I think they think you want to see yourself, so they don't let me turn it off. But anyways, so we do have Linux here. Or not Linux, but we do have RetroArch in Android. And I do have a number of consoles, which I guess we could try Conker's Bad Fur Day. Oh boy. This ought to be interesting, because I don't know if I can fast forward through any of this. Alright, that's better solution, I guess. So this is definitely not meant for somebody that is new to retro gaming, I don't feel. The thing is like we're used to with RetroArch and with Linux, that you want to have a folder that says ROMs, and then within those ROMs you want to have each individual system's ROMs. But this device wants each individual system's on the root of the micro SD card, whether you're using Android or Linux. Now, of course, Android you could change it up, but if you want to be able to go back and forth, if you can get Linux to be stable for you, it has to be like PSX for PlayStation 1, NES for Nintendo Entertainment Center. Need to be folders in the root of it. They're not inside of a ROMs folder. It won't read the ROMs folder. So again, you just have to be willing to tinker with it a bit to get things working. Kind of like this camera. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so it's a bit interesting, shall we say. Let's see if I can't get Conker's bad fur day to load. I might need to choose a different emulator, but we'll find out beyond this. But it's interesting because, you know, you have the two partitions, just like if you have two different partitions of your computer, one with Linux and one with Windows, for example. If you set up Wi-Fi on one side, it's not going to carry over to the other side. So again, if you want to tinker around with it, you can, but Wi-Fi, for example, needs to be configured on a per basis, on each partition basis. Okay, let's try this one. So we've got to the same point we did before. Hey, we got Nintendo. I mean, not for all, of course. Some, and again, that's why I created the personas that I've mentioned. I've created the list in my, or on one of our channels on the Discord server. And, you know, some people love tinkering. Some people just want to get it in and play. And that's fine. That's what the TrimUI brick hammer is for. That's what the Miu Flip V2 is for. That's what the Magic X Zoo 10 and the Magic X 040 are for. And the Anbernic RG35XX Pro. And the Battle XP G350. That's what they're for. Is getting in and just playing. The Heligali was that way too. Heligali Action Pi was great for that. Of course, I think Heligali's gone out of business because I can't get their website to load and all the prices are crazy prices. But it is what it is. Now, since this is not a touchscreen, I can't get rid of these. I'm sure probably in the settings somewhere I can disable them, but I've just never tinkered with them to disable them. So, can this play Conkers? Yes, it can play Conkers on Linux and on Android. But it's not the best of experiences because, again, you can't minimize this controller. And like I say, my Linux hit the fan, shall we say. So I have to reinstall it. And I had reinstalled it and it was successful, but I had my micro SD card in it. And even though the device didn't come with a micro SD card to begin with, it was then saying my micro SD card needed to be inserted. So my only conclusion was that they had done some type of partition for Linux and Android. So it's kind of annoying seeing these. I get that and I just can't get rid of it because not a touchscreen. So even though this kind of promises to be a plug-and-play device, it's not really a plug-and-play device. I'm just going to exit out of that. The good thing is RetroArch can be is a back end and can be a front end. It's just not as efficient at being a front end as something like ESDE is. All right. Okay, I think it's PSX rearmed. That works really well with this. Oh, come on. And my guess is the Linux build has some special customizations as far as all that goes, as far as not requiring ROMs. Let's see here. Or BIOS could not be loaded from my playlist. Maybe it's this one. All right. No? You can see using RetroArch is possible. It's just, did I not? I thought I had, but maybe I've redone it since I uploaded all of these. Let's see here. So you can see one of the fun things about this is it does make you tinker. So let's see here. Let me see here. Core, manage cores. Sorry guys, I know you can't see. It's kind of small for me too, and trying to figure this out on the fly while having a camera in my face is not the easiest. But I'd rather you see my trials and tribulations and know that this is not something that you want to have to tinker with. Or maybe it's something you're like, yeah, I love the idea of tinkering with my Handheld to the umpteenth level. Definitely I've had to fiddle with this more than I have any other device that had a Linux build on it. Glad Conker's wanted to load. I don't even know I can't remember what this one is. It's been so long, but let's find out. MIM. I think this one could work. Let's try that. Failed to load content. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is ESDE and Linux make it so much easier because ESDE knows the best cores to use and it tells it what core to load each time, rather than you having to fiddle with it. Let's just try that. Yeah, I got another one to load. Like I said, it's definitely temperamental. I can try that. Let's just try to play this here first. Of course, it doesn't want to. Writer. Oh, hey, portionated 2. Sorry, I didn't say hi before. Let me just try turning off the light altogether. It's supposed to have good low light performance. Let's test that out. Let's test that theory out. Okay, that's not bad. You still see stuff, obviously, and see its own shadow. Okay, it doesn't want to recognize my D-pad at all. Alright, well, let's try exiting out. Let's try what BrainBeat was suggesting. Alright, so BrainBeat said... No, I don't know that, BrainBeat. Your most recent question. But yeah, this thing is a pain in the butt without Linux. Let me just... Let's do input. Port 1. Let me just force it to hopefully recognize. Okay. Or that was actually left of the shoulder. R button. Okay, so let's try that. That could help. That I can use both, that helps. Alright. Alright, so let's try that game again. going to ask me to pick my emulator again, is it? Okay. The one thing about this key, these keys is very thunky. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Try that. Okay, so that looks good. On-screen overlay, there we go. Oh. On-screen overlay, let's turn that off. There we go, that should fix that part of it. Why not play that game? That sounds like fun. We're gonna play, if I can get it to load here, But Ugly Martians. And the Game Boy Advance was a 3:2 aspect ratio rather than a 4:3 aspect ratio screen, so understandable difference here. But hey, we got some But Ugly Martians going. Of course, I haven't played any games since I reinstalled them on the micro SD card just to try to get everything to work. But it's frustrating that it tells me it needs the micro SD card to boot up the Linux build. These tutorials can be a bit annoying at times, but that's all right. Okay. I'm glad I'm there. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Use Mac, okay, but move, okay. 20 years later, I think I'm going to be playing a game here. All right, there we go. And since I've bound the analog stick to beat those But Ugly Martians. But of course, Game Boy Advance plays pretty well, even on Android. So, but Ugly Martians for the win. And if you're a GBA purist, of course, you could probably turn on a filter as well to make this look like a GBA screen. Me, I'm not one of those guys that's a purist like that, so it doesn't bother me, but I know some people are, and more power to you if you are. That's the great thing about having options. We can pick what works best for us. The important thing always for me is you play the way that makes you happy. If having filters makes you happy, great. If you don't mind the LCD or OLED look of old school games, of retro games, then enjoy it that way. Don't let anybody tell you you have to play a game a specific way. That might be true for them, but that doesn't have to be true for you. All right. And even though this game would not have been compatible with a D-pad back in the day, because the GBA did not include an analog stick, I think it plays really well with an analog stick. So there we go, But Ugly Martians. Great name of a game for GBA. All right, let's go back in. Let's try a PlayStation classic that most of you probably have never played because it was a Japanese exclusive, but considering what Ethan normally drinks and what I am drinking tonight, let's play the Japanese exclusive Pepsi Man. Leave it to the Japanese to create a game called Pepsi Man. Kind of looks like somebody Ethan and I know. Wearing a cap and more hair. So yeah, if you don't have this ROM, Ethan, I would recommend getting Pepsi Man. Japanese exclusive for the PlayStation. Again, funny that the audio is in English, but this is a Japanese exclusive. But they did put Japanese subtitles for the Japanese folk. Can you help, Pepsi Man? Help me. Oh! Gotta keep running. Go, buddy, go! Get more Pepsi. Ah! I thought I could avoid it, but no. Sadly, I need more Pepsi. Oops, I missed the crown. Ah! Trying to injure Pepsi Man, how dare they? I forgot, do I have to duck here? It's been a while. There we go, yeah, I can slide. That's right, alright. Now I remember, alright. Alright, there we go. Come on, get me out of there. Ah! Oh, hit a wall. Oh, come on, I just tried jumping. Why can't I jump? Poor Pepsi Man. He's failing because of me. But I can't get out. I must have had to go over to the left. It's been so long since I played this game. I think he's quite comparable to Duffman. He's just drunk on Pepsi. Game over. Oh, I lost. But there's Pepsi Man. You too, Brain Beat. If you haven't played it, you got to get further than me in Pepsi Man. Let me know down in the Discord server how far you get. Do you get further than I got on your first life? So yeah, PlayStation runs nice. Let's see here. We do have Tekken, so let's... Oops. So let's load up Tekken. PPSP. Load, please. Ah! What happened? Apparently PPSSPP is not wanting to load on Android, but it loaded on Linux. I wish I could show you. I really do. PlayStation 1. Let's see. Does Little Big Planet run? Or is it PPS SPP issue? Looks like it's a PPS SPP on Android issue. And are we any further along? Let's take a look. Reinstall it. Yes, reinstall it. Oh, come on. Reinstall. Yes. Okay, let that finish loading. Hopefully. course, this kind of hampers the games I wanted to see played. But let's do Conkers because somebody did request Conkers before. What do you mean you failed to load content? You just loaded a few minutes ago. Let's just try that. Run. Yeah. Funny, previously, while I had the overlays stuck on, I got Conkers to load, and now it's not wanting to load. And I do have more N64 games than this on it, but I haven't had the time to, because it takes forever to load all of your games whenever you have 12,000 games, like I tried putting on here, onto RetroArch. Let's try that one. Run. Failed to load. Okay. Try the other one. Run. Run. Crash. Well, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, just search the archives of the internet and get yourself Pepsi Man and then put it on there. Or put it on your handheld, either your Steam Deck or, yeah, I mean, you can play it on your Steam Deck. So there's always that option until you get your Thor, which they say should be shipping, I believe, on the 15th, so tomorrow. Play PSP in RA. I've tried, buddy. I've tried, like, for some reason now it's acting funky. Just like I got Conkers to work a minute ago, but PSP doesn't want to work. In Linux, it works perfectly. Didn't have any issues. Other than Linux itself having its issues. But change core. There's not really another one that would work, because I don't think either of these work for PSP, but yeah, I didn't think so. And I don't think it works for Swan Station either. Yeah, no. So I want to, buddy. I have PPSSPP run, and it kicks me out. Yeah. I thought they said the 15th. Either way, 15th is Thursday, Friday is the 16th. Either way. So yeah, I'd love to play it in RetroArch, in RA, but no. Anyways, so one peculiarity is this is only the second device that I've ever had with rear-facing speakers. They are stereo speakers, but instead of being downward firing or forward-facing, they are backward. And I have noticed they are a bit muffled in certain context, so they don't sound the best by any means. But I mean, they're serviceable. Again, it's a $65 handheld. I would say the mono speaker in the RG35XX Pro sounds better. The stereo speakers in the TrimUI Brick Hammer sound better. The stereo speakers in the similarly priced Halligalli Action Pi sound better. Well, at least when it first came out, similarly priced. The slightly more expensive other devices like the TrimUI Smart Pro S, the Mongni Air X, all sound better. as does the Neo Pocket Air Mini. Sounds better too. So, like say, the fine guys at Abxylute obviously worked with the same shell manufacturer, and they probably had them make it. Let's be honest, this is probably white labeled, and they probably worked with them to update the specs. In retrospect, that probably wasn't the best idea. And dual booting sounds fantastic. It really does sound fantastic. But with this device, it's got all kinds of quirks, like the RGB lighting stops working in Android, but works in Linux. But then my Linux crapped out. And as I said, my Linux, the audio, I couldn't turn up and down the volume once I was in a game. I could only turn up and down the volume when I was outside of a game. But you do get two USB-C ports, one for a controller, one for data transfer and charging. You do get a 3.5mm headphone jack. I don't have any 3.5mm headphones to see if the audio issue was still present if I was using that. You do get a easy to access reset button at least. You do get your micro SD card slot or TF card slot. You do get your micro HDMI port. I saw some reviews on their website where people said they were loving being able to consoleize their device. So there's that if you want to consoleize your device, especially, since there's Bluetooth built into it, Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz and Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz. You should be able to have a wireless controller if you want to, or a wired controller, put it up to a TV and charge it at the same time and make it a console. Obviously, it's not the most powerful console in the world, but 65-ish US dollars. This D-pad is not very good. This D-pad, I guess if you're only into fighting games, it's probably pretty good. Because there's it's very easy to do unintentional diagonals. So see, I have it here, and I push down, and I just rock to the side a little bit, and I'm getting diagonals. So it's not the most accurate, obviously. And see, I'm trying to push a diagonal, and it's only giving me a corner, giving me the left. I do like that they include R2 and L2 and that they are actual decently sized. They are clicky like a mouse, yet L1 and the bumpers are much quieter. Are the quietest buttons on here, honestly. Very strange. But I like that they're good sized at least. They have nice sizing to them, especially for a device with a 4-inch screen, or a 3.5-inch screen. It's kind of interesting little ergonomic hump here. It does make it comfortable to hold. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It makes it comfortable to hold. But, like I say, the analog sticks are, as I showed in the unboxing video, are quite good. No cardinal snapping. It doesn't snap off into a corner, like try to do a slight diagonal, and it tries popping over to exact left or exact west in this case, exact north. It allows you to be fiddly in the corners all you want, so no cardinal snapping. That's nice. And I do like that these buttons are flat. It gives kind of that old school vibe having flat buttons, even if they are a bit loud. And a different clicking sound for start and select, but definitely clicking. And I do like that these are clickable, because again, that's not always a given. The original TrimUI Smart Pro did not have clickable analog sticks, so I'm glad that we do get that. But hold down B. There we go. All right, I'm going to try to power cycle it. So let's go restart, see if I can't get PSP or N64 to load again after a fresh restart. Yeah, I think they are just trying to be different by offering the different OS's BrainBeat. So it sounds great for marketing purposes. Hey, look, we got a device that can dual boot into either Android or to Linux. Sounds really great. But I agree, that would probably be the better play. Focus the device on one OS, and if hopefully it has if it doesn't have issues, their Linux build, then it would make a good $65 entry-level handheld. Oh, N64 crashed again. It doesn't want to do N64 anymore. So strange. Worked to start with. I don't know why it's different now. And then see, it acts like it's going to work and then flickers and goes out. So no to N64 now. For some reason, it really doesn't want to. And same thing for PPSPP. I didn't ever have that issue on Linux. Never kicked me out of the game. It's just I couldn't turn up and down the volume on Linux once I was inside of a game. And the other claim to fame that they have is they give you instructions on how to download an app that you can then download ROMs on for this handheld, but you have to be in Android mode to do it. So, Abxylute made a great little telescopic controller, and the One Pro was an underpowered but great for just streaming games from your PC onto a handheld. It was really great for that. And it had a beautiful 7-inch screen. This has a decent IPS panel. I believe it's 680 by 480 resolution. So like a 2x or whatever for the NES, 2.5x or whatever for the NES and SNES type games, and 2x for like PS1 integer scaling. So, it's fine. It's just, it's not great in any one thing that it does, and not even good at a lot of things. I mean, is it good at running NES games? Yeah, sure, we could say it's probably great at running NES games. But for $65, I kind of hope for more, because if I wanted a console that was exclusively for like NES, SNES, I'd want to be spending like $30, $40. Like the Powkiddy V90S that I reviewed last year was not a great device either, but it had same size screen, but much better keys. Granted, it didn't have the analog sticks, but it didn't have online. It was 100% offline unless you bought an adapter for it, and the triggers and shoulder buttons were not as good. But for playing NES, SNES, because it's Linux based, much better. Just plug and play. And this was plug and play, but then it decided not to be. Like I say, I wanted to have more games loaded, but it didn't want me to have more games loaded. So I'm going to just give it a second here. We're going to let it go for a minute here on N64. See if I can't get any other games to load. While I do that, I'll give you guys a chance for Q&A. So welcome, Ruler Stick Ruben. 2 months ago. I just bought a mint modded 2DS like 2 months ago, so I don't know if I need any Thor anyway. Well, again, it depends on what you're looking to do with it. If you're looking for just DS and 3DS games without any 3D functionality, yeah, I could see your point. If you're looking for something that can do PS3 while watching YouTube, watching a YouTube walkthrough, or Xbox 360 emulation is in its infancy, but it's just starting. If you want something that can do that kind of stuff, the Thor is going to be powerful enough to handle that. Your 2DS is not going to be powerful enough to handle PS3 or the like. So it depends on what your use case is. And plus, you get OLED panels on the Thor, so you know OLED is the best panel technology you can buy today. So there's that. And you also said I bought a Magic X040 because I couldn't stand to wait for my Thor. The Thor was $80 and 1-day shipping. I love the flat style, and it comes with basically every game preloaded. Yeah, absolutely. It is an Android-based device, but it does come with all of the games you need. It's a great little device. They are coming out with a new one. Magic X is coming out with a new one. But I love this. I got this case on Etsy, so it's a case when you want it to be a case. And then it's got grips on the back to make it more comfortable to play when you want to play this style. They do have a new one that they're going to be releasing in 2026. I'm trying to think. I think they call it the Magic X 145 is what it's, I believe, going to be called. And that's going to have the same form factor as a 2DS, where I believe it's either going to have 2 screens or one looking screen, but it's really going to be 2 screens kind of thing. That's going to be kind of an interesting thing. I saw that on their Discord server. Yeah, so Magic X is working on a lot of things. I'm impressed with how much they're working on. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the 28, the 028. I can understand how that'd be frustrating. They did come out with a version 2 of that. No, I have the 135. That's in a bag. That's what I'm going to be reviewing next week. But what I'm talking about is a device that they haven't released yet, that they're planning to release later this year in the next couple months. That's going to have that's the 2DS version. So it'll look a lot like a 2DS does. But yeah, this is the 135 right here. See, does it show it? Just says toy handheld. Get around customs. Yeah, it doesn't have it on the package, but I know it is because of when it arrived. So I have that for next week, is the 135. Yeah, the X135 I ordered when it first came available for pre-order. So I ordered it back, I believe, October, and they were having trouble getting the colors to match exactly how they wanted it to, so they pushed it back, and they just started going out. Yeah, no, I also love their Zoo 10, the Magic X Zoo 10. It's a funny little 3.5-inch device that is less powerful than this, but it can play everything that this can. I kind of love that it has its own little eyebrows up here and its own little feet down here. Get your dual clickable analog sticks. The only thing is they are a little bit raised, the L2, R2, but I wish they were a little bit differently shaped. And kind of interesting having your power button here, but for a vertical, it's not too bad. Nice quiet buttons, good sounding mono speaker, a little clicky face buttons, but not too bad. All in all, again, not a bad one. So yes, I do keep all of the handhelds that I review. So I've reviewed those last year, and both reviewed out fairly well. I did not get the 028 because that had already came out before my channel launched last year, about 9 months ago, so I didn't release that. I wish I had done it for the V2 now, because that little 2.8-inch screen would have been nice to have included in my little micro handheld category for devices of 2028. Or 2028, 2025. Wow, I'm getting old and thinking too far in the future. So we are, well, we're about 300 games in, that's good. 746 N64 games, so that's quite a few. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, that's one of the things is, I think when I was a kid, I had what today would be considered ADD. You know, I was always just running around. You couldn't get me to pay attention to anything, but video games gave me focus. And I think good games can also help with brain rot too, because they make you think about how to solve the puzzles and things along those lines, whether it's something like Tetris or an RPG, or even a game like Metal Gear Solid, where you're trying to understand what's happening and piece it all together so you can progress forward. I think that games can help a lot in different ways that some people don't understand, but definitely I can see your point for brain rot. Yeah, that would definitely have to be one of the best for pocketability. That comes with analog sticks. The TrimUI Model S, probably the most pocketable. It's about the size of a credit card and stacked about maybe 4 or 5 credit cards. Has a much smaller screen. I think it's only a 1.5-inch screen, if I remember correctly. But that would definitely win overall pocketability, but the 028 for devices with dual analog sticks would definitely win pocketability for dual analog stick devices. This one wouldn't be bad if it would just work. And that's the thing, is Magic X makes things that work, even though that might have Android, like the 040, and I believe the 028 also has Android. But like they've kind of gimped Android a lot in this case. And like I say, the Linux wasn't that good because the Linux I couldn't do volume up and down so well unless I was outside of a game, which of course all that will be considered for my review on Friday, which reminds me, since I work tonight and tomorrow night, I'm going to have to probably do the script tonight after work and then do the recording and editing Thursday night before or after I get off work. So, you know, it is what it is. I love doing this stuff for you guys. If you're not already on the Discord server, Ruler Stick Ruben, I would definitely recommend and suggest that you join, because you seem like you're a guy that knows a lot about games, and you know, we're still growing the Discord server. I think we're at like 13 members right now, 13 or 14 members. I would love to grow the Discord server even more, especially with people that love handhelds and can bring different ideas to the table and just add activity to the Discord server, because I would love for it to be a hub. We've got, like say, about 12 of us, including myself, right now, so it's not the most active, but the more the merrier. All right, well, sounds good, Brainbeat. Thanks for jumping on, buddy. All right, so now we have a bunch of N64. Let's see here. Okay, let me just try exiting out and go back in. Ah, look at all those games now. All right. .007. Load content. Oh, come on. Load, give me something here. It's funny, earlier on this live stream I had Conker's loading. I just couldn't show it. Hey, Maddie XP, how's it going? Just trying to get this fiddly little device by Abxylute, the E1 to function. I can't get its stuff to load the way I want it to. I can't get its Linux to load anymore. It died out on me and I tried to do it again. I did it successfully, but then other issues arose, so I tried another memory card and happy days, happy days. Let's just go back here and import. Let's scan a directory. And let's try Game Boy Advance. GBA, where are you? Scan this directory. Okay, great. Only 1,508 GBA games. So I'll let that run for a minute while I look at you guys. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I try to be authentic with you guys. And, you know, I will be getting the Retroid Pocket 6. I didn't get the G2 because, you know, I'm buying every device myself. I'm not being provided those devices, so have to be selective, and I figured the updated the device with the 8 Gen 2 would be the way to go. But I wish I'd gotten the G2 now. But it is what it is. Have to wait for it. I also have currently waiting for the like I have the my mind just completely went. The Aeneo Pocket, or Aeneo's Conker Pocket Fit Elite Beduck Edition pre-ordered. So obviously waiting for Aeneo to get that stuff sorted out as well, even though they had their bit of mess this week, or this last week, in the last week and a half or so. And as I mentioned last week, I am going to be having a Battle Royale. This device will be in it, but I can tell you it's probably not going to be faring too well in the battle. The TrimUI Smart Pro OS is going to be in it. The Aeneo Pocket Air Mini. The all ones that I've reviewed in the last, say, 2 months that are under $100. So also the Aeneo Pocket Air Mini, this one, yeah, so, but it'll be a 5-way device handheld battle. I've decided so that'll probably be on a Friday. I'm going to be doing a TrimUI Smart Pro OS teardown in a couple weeks also, where I'm going to be replacing the buttons because I got the red one, but I think the red would look good with white. So TrimUI did provide me with the device, but I bought the buttons myself, so I'm going to be putting those in. And then I'm also going to compare the stock OS versus CrossMix OS, which CrossMix was provided to me by Mech DIY. So again, they didn't ask for me to do anything other than to show it off. So that's what I'm going to do, is it'll be a full TrimUI update video, seeing what the before and after experience, to see what way works best for you guys. So I'm a PlayStation guy at my heart, so I love having the sticks on the bottom, so I ordered my sticks on the bottom, D-pad up top. Which way would you order it, Ruler? And yeah, the yellow color looked good, but I ordered the orange color on the Pocket 6. The orange looks pretty sharp too. And I like that they have the silicone grip case in orange as well, so it matches it. Yeah, I can appreciate your unbiased opinion. For me, it's definitely biased, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've never owned an Xbox. So for me, when I would go to my friends' houses and play Xbox, I felt strange. But that's just me. But again, I'm glad that they gave us the option. I kind of liked the original look before people voted to change it, because I liked that it looked different than the RP5, but people were not happy that it looked different than the RP5. So they went back to a look that's almost identical to the RP5 and the RPG2, which again for me is kind of sad. It's like people are afraid of things looking a little differently. But either way, it'll still be a good device. It would have just been a little bit bigger with the updated look, I think. And the programmable buttons, most of us aren't using anyway, on the back or on the front. I know some people do, and I get that, but I've never really used them for much of anything. So I think it was 4 buttons on the bottom. Start, select, and M1 and M2. I think we're on the bottom. Yeah, below the screen. Because they had start and select there, and then they had the programmable buttons that when they redesigned it, they moved to the back to keep that look, the front fascia to look quite similar to the RP5. If I remember correctly, I could be going crazy. But yeah, the big rectangular buttons on the bottom. I kind of liked how that looked because it was kind of more of a retro look. So mix the hybrid of modern and retro together, but sadly it lost by like 2%. And I can't blame them for only going with one chassis in that regard, because they already agreed to do the D-pad customization. So if they were to offer the buttons on the back and on the front and offer D-pad top or bottom, that's a lot of extra expense for them, because you think every time that they change the chassis, it's costing them money. Because remember the economics of scale, and when you're not scaling if you have 4 different versions in your small company, because they're probably only going to sell a couple thousand of them, if we're being honest. At most, probably 10,000. And it's probably not going to be an even split. All right. Whereas right now, at least you have the one chassis, and then you choose which way you go. So 5,000-ish of each. But if you break that up even more, then it's 2,500, 2,500, and so on. So then you have less economics of scale, so then it costs you more money. Again, for a big company like Samsung, that's not a big deal because like the Samsung Galaxy devices sell in, you know, hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions. But Retroid is not selling millions. Yeah, and then the colors too, right? Absolutely. That's another thing I didn't take into consideration too, and I was just saying that. So then you have the economics of scale of all the colors too. They have like 5 different colors. So then that would be like 500 of each color. Not even 500, then like, yeah, so, you know, so it's just the economics of scale isn't there, so then their prices go up. So I get why they didn't offer both, even though it only lost by like 2%. I just thought it looked better having the buttons down on the bottom. All right, so I'm going to exit out of this. Let's go back to that and see if we can't get another GBA game to load here for us. There we go. That's a good selection of GBA games. Again, I wish I was able to be on the Linux partition, but it's not working because ESDE just looks so much better as far as the front end goes. Nothing against to the XMB of the PlayStation 3, but for long lists. Let's try Peter Pan on the Game Boy Advance. Hey, we got a game to work. I believe I have integer scaling on, so that's probably what's causing it to look a little shrunken. Who remembers the Peter Pan movie from the early 2000s? That's one of my favorites. I created a thing that I call Nickflix. Can you tell where I got the name from? Nickflix? But it's an 8 terabyte portable SSD that I connect to my TV that I put thousands of movies on. And this version of Peter Pan, aka Hook, was there. With one of the best comedic actors of all time that sadly suffered from depression too much. Yeah, so I did full review on the Mangmi AirX. I thought it's a good device. Here she is in all her glory with my different sticks and stick caps, but that's all right. And my case that I love this case because it has the grippy texture on the ergonomic bumps, make it more comfortable. It's a good device. Ethan, who's watching, or was watching at least, it was his first handheld, and he's happy with it. It's a good device. There's better devices, obviously, but for that's why I'm including it in that battle royale, because it is a really solid device, and it's in that sub $100 range, which I think is that sweet spot for people entering the hobby. So I want to kind of create a battle royale to compare those entry level for those that are looking to get into the hobby. I can tell you anything about the Abxylute E1. I paid 100% for it myself, even though Abxylute has sponsored me for their telescopic controller. That's a different division of Abxylute, and even if it was the same division, they didn't pay me to review this. They didn't even ask me to review this, so I did it myself. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I've only been around for about 9 months, but I've already created over 100 videos. So definitely every week on Wednesdays I do either a live stream where I'm testing the device of the week and giving you my honest experiences with it while I'm playing it. On Mondays I do the unboxings, which is what we'll like say for the Magic X 135, the Magic X 135 will be unboxed on Monday. Of course, that will not be a live stream, but it will be recorded. And for my unboxings, I try to do it all in one take. Okay, so now I'm editing it still, so you know, I'll delete out parts that there's nothing exciting happening, but it's all in one take, so it's the true first impressions of the device, and you've seen me unbox it. And then on Fridays, I do my short-term reviews or my long-term reviews. If Wednesday is not a live stream, which in a couple weeks it won't be, it'll be that TrimUI Smart Pro OS upgrade video that I was mentioning, so that'll be recorded. And during my live streams or Wednesday videos, I do the subscriber giveaways. Every 1,000 subscribers, I give away either a coffee mug or a t-shirt or a USB drive. Here, I can show you a little something. Like this guy right here. This is 128 gigabyte USB-C and USB-A. Your choice of color. Or you can do the Penix branded coffee mug, your choice of color, shipped to you, no cost. Same thing for t-shirt. This desk mat that I'm recording this on, same style here. Only one person has chosen this so far, but I give you the dimensions that you can choose from. It's on the Discord server, so the thing is you have to subscribe to the channel and you have to subscribe to the Discord server. The reason I do that is I did do a blog, but one, it was hard to create content on it, working a full-time job at the same time as doing this. And two, it was more difficult getting people to sign up for it. So I did the Discord server to make it easy. If you want to be active on the Discord server, you can be. If you just want to join for the giveaways, that's fine too. Today was the 9,000 subscriber giveaway. You can see we're at almost 18,000, so we're almost 9,000 subscribers away. So even though if you subscribe to both today, you'll qualify for next week's subscriber giveaway and all of them, even though you weren't at the point with us whenever we had the 10,000 subscribers. So there's that. Like I say, so you can see what subscriber gifts you can get, and you know, we can converse. Of course, the more the merrier. So both for you, Maddie and Ruler, I hope that you both sign up for the Discord server. Liven up the place even more. There's only about 13 of us on the Discord server right now. So contribute, ask questions, and of course you can ask it directly to me, or you can just ask it broadly on the channel. I'm generally on there. I work overnights at the moment in Thailand, so North American days. And so yeah, I work North American days right now. While my wife, of course, is living a normal life in Thailand. So unfortunately, she's asleep while I'm working, and then I want to sleep while she's awake at the moment. And the same for my son, but it is what it is. But anyways, so yeah, sign up for the Discord server, and then you can check out the post that I have about the gifts, and you can see some examples of things that people have won. That dog is tough. Thanks, Tinkerbell. Not a micro SD card because I want it to be branded. So I do have the flash drive that's branded with my controller part of my logo. The t-shirts, you can choose one of two designs, but well, either way it would have the back of the full desk mat, and then would have the controller either on the chest or on the arm sleeves. Like say coffee mug, the full logo, plus you can choose the color you want. What is the other thing? What is the other thing? Desk mat, of course, is the full thing. And I haven't tested them yet, so I don't know how good they are. But I'm considering caps. So if you wanted a baseball cap, you could get a baseball cap, and you could tell me that like you want the logo of the controller on the front or the back of the cap kind of thing. And if you want a snapback or a fitted hat, you know, we can work something out like that. What is the... Just trying to think of something else. Yeah, whatever it is, it at least has a minimal logo on it. Yeah, it's a really good... It's like the logo is woven in to the material. It's not like a sticker on top of it. So I had tried another vendor that, if I can, here I'll show you. I have this underneath here. Another vendor that this was just kind of a sticker, and I didn't like it. So that's why it's underneath. But this is properly woven in to the desk mat, so it's much nicer. And like I say, you can choose what size you want. Yeah, like I say, I am in Thailand, so it is 8:41 p.m. right now. 8:41 p.m. Wednesday. My live stream started at 7 p.m. Thai time. I'm originally from North America. I grew up in the US and Canada. So I know the time zones, of course, but I currently live in Thailand with my Thai wife and my cute little Thai son that's 2 years old on the 29th. I'm Nick and he's Dominic. So see, I gave him his own identity, but at the same time, I died again. Apparently that crashed the game. Oh well. So yeah, on Linux, if I can get Linux to work again, it works like the other Linux-based handhelds, like the TrimUI, Brick Hammer, and the Anbernic RG35XX Pro. So PS1, PSP were working great. Not so much on Android, because Android takes a lot more of the bandwidth of the SoC, the system on a chip, and the RAM than what it does, so it doesn't work as well, as you can see. And they don't give me access to the full Google Play Store on Android. So to me, like, Android just feels like it was a gimmick for them to be able to say that it dual boots into both. Could I sideload a game? Probably. But like, it's not a touchscreen, so I can't drag down the notification shade or do any of that stuff. So it's kind of frustrating a bit. I wish it was just pure Linux, and I wish that it was a well-built version of Linux. I would be in Linux right now and having a great time on PSP and PS1 games, but my Linux crashed on me. So I need to get it to re-download its build of Linux. And like, say, one time I did that, but then apparently it created a partition on my micro SD card, which really confuses me, because when you receive the device, it doesn't come with a micro SD card, and it boots into the Linux build initially. But I had the micro SD card in when I was downloading this and did it, and then I tried taking out the micro SD card to add games, and it's like, you must add the turn off the device and insert micro SD card to use. Doesn't make any sense to me. Timeout. Why did you time out? And now it's being temperamental with the network and work. So yeah, it's not going to be my highest rated device. Now, even though it was more stable as far as its OS goes, the Portable Game Player 5 was the closest thing that I reviewed last year, that as far as closest thing to e-waste. This is not e-waste. This is, I think, is more functional and has better buttons. Like, whenever you'd press anything on the Portable Game Player 5, it sounded hollow. And it felt like everything was just in the middle and all the sides were just kind of empty. Even though it was a 7-inch screen, it had a TFT screen. So if you weren't looking at it dead on, it was going to be washed out really bad. So it was not a good experience. So even though it was a 7-inch screen, it received my worst rating of the year last year. You know, I hate to say it for Abxylute, but this is on pace to be one of the worst devices that I review of the year. It you know, again, it has a fine panel. They just, I think, tried being a little too braggadocious, trying to say, look, we have a dual booting system, Android and Linux. And in Android, you can download games, or we give you an application, that there's an application that you can download games, ROMs on. I've heard that application has very limited ROMs on it. But the other thing is there's a lot of different Android apps that you can download ROMs. There's lots of places on the web that you can download ROMs. So do you really need it? Probably not. And this would have just been better off as a Linux device with the same internals. The same internals are fine, especially for Linux. This would have been a fairly powerful Linux device. But, because I mean the Rockchip RK3566 is more than enough, and I believe this has 2 gigs of RAM. If I remember correctly, it might be 3. So they did that, of course, to support Android, but with Linux, that would have just been, as they used to say, the bees the knees. Well, both are the same power, so I guess it would depend on what variant you are getting of the Thor. Like my variant of the Thor is the 16 gigabyte version, which is overkill, but it makes it more future-proof too. So as they're developing Xbox 360 emulation, that kind of stuff, those generally will take up more RAM, especially in the early stages of development. So if you want to play PS3, if you want to play that, you have more bandwidth. But the 12 gigabyte version of the RP6 is good enough for the vast majority of people. But at the same time, the Thor is more pocketable because you have the lid, so your screens are protected. Your screen is your primary screen is bigger. You got a 6-inch versus a 5.5-inch screen, and then you have the secondary 3.92-inch OLED panel on the bottom. So again, if you want to multitask, if you want to watch a walkthrough or read a walkthrough while you're playing a game, easy peasy on that. Now, of course, you can buy the RP5 or the RP6 with the RP secondary screen add-on, but it's not going to be as good of an experience. I have the add-on. It's not as good of an experience as the Thor. It's fine, but again, the Thor does a lot of things really well, which is why it won my best device of the year last year. So that would be my thought, is you get a better OLED panel, a bigger OLED panel, and you get a secondary OLED panel to do the other things you want to do. You know, a lot of people slept on it, and I have a foldable phone today. I have a Vivo X Fold. You know, I love technology, but this does not replace my old Surface Duo 2. And a lot of people say, P-Nick, you're crazy. But this is a true multitasking device. This is not. The reason I say that is this has 2 screens, and a lot of people would complain with this that they're like, oh, I tried spanning YouTube across both screens, it's horrible. But that's not how they wanted you to use it. They designed it so this is like a dual monitor system. So if you use a dual monitor system, you understand you don't span YouTube or a website across both of your dual monitors, right? And so that's kind of the idea is here. You're watching YouTube here, or like this, for example, watching YouTube up here, so you get the bigger screen, and then you're checking your WhatsApp or checking your Twitter stream, whatever, on here. So you're multitasking. So I find I do multitasking things less with this. So going back to the Thor, it will encourage you to multitask more. Again, whether it's getting gamer guides or whatnot, it'll encourage you to do things more often at the same time, which may or not be good for you. Along with being able to play 3DS and NDS. And of course, the screens are better. They're OLED compared to your 2DS. So your 2DS will have less latency, but if you're not sensitive to latency, the screens will look better on the Thor. So there's that. Yeah, I've seen the Ayeneo phone. I've set up notifications for their Kickstarter to let me know as soon as it goes live so I can pre-order it. And of course I will let my Discord server know that it's live. So for those nerds like us that want the slide, we'll be able to get the slide. It seems like a lot of fun. I'm just curious what they're going to charge for it, especially with the whole RAM situation thanks to Crucial abandoning the consumer market for AI RAM. You know, I mean, I just don't understand that. I mean, I understand AI is growing, but the consumer demand for RAM just continues to grow. So it's not like they were not growing. They were continuously producing more RAM every year because more goods were using their RAM every year. So I still don't understand Crucial's decision for that. But yes, so I will get the Pocket Slide, or whatever it's called. I think it's the Pocket Slide. One thing I did notice when I was looking at the pictures is that R2 will be on the inside and R1 will be on the outside. Usually it's R1 on the inside and then you reach over for R2 and L2. But in this case, L2 and R2 on the inside, on the outside of the controller or device, and then R1 and L1 are on the inside. Kind of an interesting choice. I'm not sure why they went with that. Yeah, I was the same way. I lived in Chile. I taught English when the Xperia Play came out, and I remember passing by the carrier stores that were selling it in Santiago, Chile, drooling over that phone. I was like, oh. But again, that's because I'm a PlayStation guy. I've owned every PlayStation console that has been released in North America, and I still have a PS3 that I had shipped to Chile because I didn't get a step-down converter or step-up converter when I was in Chile, and fried my launch PS3, my PS3 fat. So I got another one, and then I have a PlayStation 5 that I got on launch day, delivered, thank goodness, to Best Buy delivery, and got it on launch day. They did a great job there. And I have a PS Vita that was a launch edition in Canada that I got from EB Games or GameStop and on launch. And I have a Japanese exclusive PS Vita 3rd generation that's a lime green PS Vita. So but I did have the PSP on launch, and I got a PS1 originally, Christmas '98, and I tried getting a PS2 on launch, and I was supposed to get a PS2 on launch. I was waiting. My dad let me go to Walmart and wait for it to launch, and I was in line. They said, well, we got 20 consoles, and I was like the 5th person there. I got there at like 6 p.m., so I was like, all right, I'm getting a console. And then at like 10:55, they're like, well, we've decided we're going to do a random draw here. Everybody draw a ticket. And even though I'd already bought the keyboard for it, an extra controller for it, I'd already bought some games for it, so I could just get the console and run out the door. That didn't matter, and I wasn't one of those 20 people to get my ticket drawn, so I had to wait. Yeah, PSP Go, absolutely. So I have to start work in 6 minutes, so I'm going to have to end this stream so I can make my coffee, even though, you know, like I say, it is almost 9 p.m. Thai time. I have to start work at 9 p.m., so I have to start working. But it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. We can, like I say, always chat on the Discord server. The ones that are there may not be chatting all the time, but they are very friendly and love handhelds, either starting to love them or like Ethan that was on earlier, or he's still here. So yeah, EB Games. Good stuff. I'm glad you still have it in Oz. We did still have it in Canada when I left 3 years ago. I don't know if we still have it, but yeah, same company, EB Games and GameStop, just a different brand. But yeah, Ethan's, like I say, his first handheld was the Air X. So we all love handhelds, and I hope you guys join if you haven't already joined. Come and say hi. Ask questions, poke around. Like I say, you'll see the post that I had for the gifts, and you can see both. One where I just break down the different gifts that are offered, and one where I've gotten pictures from people that have received their gifts and shown the pictures of what they received. So either way, it's been great talking with you guys as always. Like I say, Friday will be the review of this. As you can tell, it's probably not going to be the best review, but whether Abxylute provided this to me or not, anytime I do get a review unit, I tell them that the requirement is that I have to be able to speak 100% candid of my opinion. And like I say, TrimUI has done that for the TrimUI Brickhammer and the TrimUI Smart Pro S, and I appreciate that. And Abxylute did it for a telescopic controller. Hopefully I can get more in the future. Again, it was just a couple months ago that my channel only had 250 subscribers, but then it blew up to where it's at over the course of about 2 months, and then it's kind of stabilized. So I don't know if my channel's just going to be kind of that way, where it'll be stagnant for a while and then blow up, and then stagnant for a while and blow up again. I wish it'd be continuous, but we'll see. But either way, I'm always looking to grow the fam on the Discord server, and I hope that you guys are on the Discord server and we can talk soon. So I guess I'll do my traditional call out for this video, as I do for all of my videos. Until next time, this has been P. Nick.